What if some of the most chilling conspiracy theories about the FBI weren't theories at all? What if the very agency sworn to protect Americans spent decades spying, manipulating, and even instigating violence from the shadows? Welcome to a deep dive into the real conspiracies that turned out to be true. From blackmailing Martin Luther King Jr. to using street gangs as pawns, this is the true story of how the FBI blurred the line between justice and control. This is FBI Conspiracies That Were True. 1. Dark Correspondence. The letters that killed. Imagine a government agency writing anonymous letters to provoke gang wars and then calling it a success. In the 1960s, under the infamous reign of J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI launched Operation Hoodwink. Their goal? Sow chaos. They forged letters posing as communists and mailed them to mob bosses, sparking paranoia and orchestrating street-level violence. They called it psychological warfares, spreading rumors to fuel deadly gang rivalries and frame innocent people as informants. These tactics weren't just covert, they were deadly. The Bureau weaponized fear to manipulate entire communities. 2. Killing King. The Bureau versus the dream doctor Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't. Just a civil rights leader, he was an enemy of the state in the eyes of the FBI. As King's influence grew, especially when he began criticizing U.S. militarism and advocating for the poor, the FBI declared war. Hoover's team bugged his hotel rooms, recorded alleged affairs, and sent him an anonymous letter urging him to commit suicide. Let that sink in. The FBI tried to psychologically destroy the man who preached nonviolence and unity. When King was assassinated in 1968, and he pointed to the Bureau not for pulling the trigger, but for creating the perfect storm. 3. The fate of Whitey Bulger. A mobster made by the system. James Whitey Bulger wasn't just a gangster. He was an informant, one protected by the FBI, in exchange for intel on rival gangs. The Bureau turned a blind eye as Bulger ran a criminal empire. Some reports even connect him to McCultrath, the CIA, illegal mind control experiments, which may have shaped his violent tendencies. Worse yet, FBI agents tipped him off about investigations, letting him disappear for over a decade. He wasn't caught until he was old, frail, and ready to expose the unholy alliance between law enforcement and organized crime. For Lennon versus Hoover, silencing the beat. John Lennon wasn't just a Beatle, he was a political threat. As Lennon grew vocal against the Vietnam War and began supporting radical movements, the FBI saw him as a destabilizing force. They spied on him, tried to deport him, and even attempted to frame him with drug charges, all because he sang about peace. Even after his assassination in 1980, conspiracy theory suggested more than just a lone gunman was at play. Whether or not those claims are true, one thing is undeniable. The FBI viewed Lennon's voice as dangerous, and they tried to shut it down. Malcolm X. The setup. Malcolm X was a man caught between movements, between enemies and between conspiracies. In the aftermath of his assassination, key evidence was hidden. Witnesses were ignored. Innocent men were jailed while real culprits walked free. Decades later, the truth began to emerge. The FBI had infiltrated organizations Malcolm worked with and knew about plots against him. Did they pull the trigger? No, but they let the gun go off. 6. Fred Hampton executed in his sleep. Fred Hampton was a 21-year-old Black Panther leader who united people across racial lines. It scared the FBI more than any gun. In 1969, the Bureau orchestrated a raid on Hampton's Chicago apartment. He was drugged by an informant. Police burst in and shot him multiple times as he slept. They called it a shootout. It was an execution. Documents later revealed COINTELPRO, the FBI's counterintelligence program, had marked Hampton as a threat to be neutralized, and they did just that. 7. Divide and conquer. How they broke the movements. The FBI didn't just attack individuals, they broke apart entire movements. They spread false letters to turn activists against each other. In one case, they sabotaged Fred Hampton's Rainbow Coalition by making it look like one group was exploiting another. Paranoia grew, trust vanished. It was a strategy as old as empire. Divide and conquer. The FBI simply gave it a modern, bureaucratic twist. 8. Media manipulation, controlling the narrative. After MLK's death, the FBI wasn't done. They worked behind the scenes with media outlets to protect their image and spin the story. When King's family demanded a new investigation, the FBI responded not with transparency, but with more deflection. They weren't just watching from the shadows, they were writing the script. 9. Black bag jobs, spying on everyone. The term black bag job might sound like something from a spy movie, but it was very real. These were break-ins ordered by the FBI. No warrants, no accountability. Just agents rifling through personal files, planting bugs, or even fabricating evidence. Targets included Muhammad Ali, Eleanor Roosevelt, and countless others whose only crime was challenging the status quo. 10. Hoover, the hypocrite. And at the center of all of this, J. Edgar Hoover, a man obsessed with morality while harboring secrets of his own. Despite leading crusades against immorality and suspected homosexuals, many reports allege that Hoover himself lived a closeted life with a long-term male partner. It's a bitter irony. The man who destroyed lives in the name of purity couldn't live openly himself. The story of the FBI isn't just one of law and order. It's a story of power, how it's used, who it targets, and what happens when no one's watching. From Martin Luther King Jr. to Fred Hampton, from Lenin to Malcolm X, the Bureau didn't just monitor threats, it created them. And while these events happened decades ago, the consequences echo today. In every protest, every whistleblower story, every question about surveillance and civil liberties, we're reminded of one thing. Conspiracy isn't always a theory. Sometimes it's a declassified file.